but it's fine. Perfectly fine. Oh, the paddy wagon is so cool. Okay. Fish paste. The muck spreaders struck again last night. This time it's hit Mr. Krabs' paddy wagon. No one's seen a filthy hopper anywhere, so it looks like we're back to square one. My friend, Sandy Cheeks, is coming over to help me investigate. She's the smartest aquanautic squirrel I know. Together we'll get to the bottom of all this. Let's split up. We'll search for clues in the dirt, and you wash it all away with your shouty water cannon. Let's do it. Oh, we're right outside of the thingy. The place. Hold on. There's something. Yeah. There's like in the towel I put my feet on, and it hurt. Give me a second. I didn't find what it was that was stabbing me, but it's fine. Hey Andy, how's it going? It seems fine now. Holy mackerel, SpongeBob said things were messy, but this here is muckier than a mad moose in a marsh. Anyhow, don't mind me. I'm just gonna go quietly about my detecting business. Or looking for the 3 M's. Means, motive, and opportunity. But first, the crime itself. I'm really struggling to get this thing out of the way. Yeah. Keep slowly doing it. There we go. Did I get the holder on this one? No. I didn't fully get the engine pump either. Okay. That looks to all be good. Boom. Dude, they did this so well. Looks like some kind of spontaneous certification. None of its surroundings are affected, just the wagon itself. Exactly like at Conch Street, the Krusty Krab, and the Chum Bucket. I honestly have no idea what voice to do with her. I remember it just being like a kind of like nasally voice. that Sandy had, if I remember right. There we go. I like how the wheels are a pickle. I don't really remember this vehicle from the show, but that's okay. I don't remember this vehicle. Suwey, do you remember this vehicle? It's just a burger.
Yeah, it's from the crusty. It's from the movie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Dude, my memory is so weird.
Now that we're men, we can do man.
It's the paddy wagon? Yeah, I just don't remember it. I remember like
Breaks down in the scary waters.
it's almost like they've been repeatedly pecked at by some mysterious hostile beasts of the deep. I don't know Sandy's voice well enough to mimic it. I apologize, chat. I know it's atrocious. But yeah, I don't remember this vehicle. Oh, the hood too? Oh, I was doing the hood before. Wait, is there a trunk? Oh no, there's a trunk, isn't there? No, there's not. We're good. Okay. Alright. Getting the patty as good as I can here. Could it be the Plankton Army? I honestly have no idea what on the patty is still dirty. But Plankton's only interested in a secret Krabby Patty formula. Is there anyone or anything who would have a vendetta against so many people? I knew it would pull off such a stunt without anyone noticing. Finally got the patty. That took forever. Got it. Try to turn his Skyrim into Scandinavia. I love it. You have a vendetta against a lot of people. True. True, true. Hey, Goldie Choke, have a great lyric. Also, guys, Goldie Choke sent me some stuff to taste, and it's all delicious. I haven't actually tried the cookies yet because we were letting them sit in the fridge yesterday, and then I forgot. But we're gonna try them after stream. And I'm really excited. They're s'mores flavored cookies, but oh my gosh. So Goldie makes blondie brownies, which are like white chocolate. I think they're white chocolate. I don't know. They're like really, really good. And then they are coffee as well. I don't know if they're just coffee, if they're white chocolate as well, like milk chocolate mocha.
It's very good.
Okay. Well, it's not brown like milk chocolate normally is, though. Yeah, they are called blondies. I'm trying to describe what a blondie is.
It's coffee.
I don't know, but it's tasty. I know that
It's
much.
spies in chat or lurking. Keep it up.
I know. There's only one I know is the viciousness, the speed, the guile, and the diameter to do such a thing. It's got to be. Who? Who's a Sandy? Only big person in the SpongeBob universe is Pearl, isn't it?
What?
The only, like, really massive character in the SpongeBob universe is Pearl, right? Miss Puff. Oh, it's gotta be Miss Puff.
Miss Puff is a pufferfish.
Oh man, I need to recharge my device. Someone's leaving dirt everywhere in Bikini Bottom. That sounds like something that would happen to Miss Puff. Am I wrong? She'd get dirt all over her and then be bounced around by something dumb. That sounds like a gag that would happen. But it's dirty. I don't understand. There's chocolate chips? Was there? I didn't notice them. Or I wasn't paying attention to them. I was paying attention to the coffee flavor being delicious. Am I what? Haha! I'm so excited to try the s'mores cookies. Ah. Coffee? It doesn't have an R in it. I'm not saying an R sound at all. Coffee. There's no R there.
Coffee?
There's no R there. It's coffee. Huh? But yeah, Goldie Choke, post a link to your shop, and also you need to give me. Do you want me to use a tracking link again when I post on social media? Oh, like cause and car? Yeah, okay. Okay. Caffey. But yeah, Goldie Shoke, I will post on social media sometime in the next couple days. I just keep forgetting. I remember. Jumping jellyfish. That's the paddy wagon, alright? By the way, did Sandy tell you that she's cracked the case? We're calling in the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. They're the only ones who can stop the grubby fiend. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? Is that a thing in SpongeBob?
Yes, absolutely.
Man, I do not remember so many details. Mermaid Man. There's Evil Foot. Evil! But it's no foot. It's no foot, amigo. It's a bubble, a dirty, dirty bubble. And he's been painting the whole town brown. A dirty bubble? That sounds like our bubble friend. Bubble buddy. We tracked him down to jellyfield fishes. No, wait. The jellyfield fish fields. But he cornered us, and I don't think a round thing could do that. Finally, he suckered us in with his awesome surface tension. We managed to pry our way out with Barnacle Boy's rough, rock-eating tongue, but the invisible boatmobile is a wreck. We're covered in every type of gunk you'd find and an all-you-can-eat, if you were a clam. Barnacle Boy says you have some kind of squirter that you can pressure into working for you. I respect that. Thank you, Goldie. Guys, click that link if you're interested. Goldie, jellyfish jelly, makes all kind. Oh, it goes invisible. That's so weird. That is so weird.
It's their vehicle.
It goes invisible as you watch it. Sorry. See, Chase was right. We gave Chase to the dirty bubble, hightailing it away from the paddy wagon with a big, filthy grin on his face, as if he could have any other kind of grin. That is mind trippy. This is so weird to clean. What? Don't worry, kiddo. We're gonna wipe that big dirty grin off that clean bubble. Oh, wait. Off that dirty bubble, sorry. Just as soon as we wipe down our shoes. And it's deep here and I don't like it one bit. This is so mind-bendy. Cause it's like a standard car kinda. But it disappears as you clean it.
It's invisible.
We've spotted him. Bobbling evilly north. Evil. Wait a minute. Do you realize what's north of here? Nope. I do not know what is north of here. So weird. I have no sense of direction. Same, buddy. This is so weird. It just disappears as you wash stuff. I feel like I'm using like hacks. It just, everything just disappears. The only way you can see it is by using the power washer. Barnacle Boy says that due north is the Goo Lagoon. I don't care who's to what if the dirty bubble makes even 7 colors of the rainbow. What? So confused. This is so weird. This is so heckin' weird. I love how they stayed true to lore and like made it invisible. But that is so weird. All these jellyfish are really testing our supply of antihistamines. And the mermaid man already has a rash from me inside the dirty bubble. We're having to apply real pharmaceutical matrix out here. Uh-oh. There's still several things to clean. Uh-oh. Apparently I'm against it. I do not see any dirt. I have no idea how to clean this thing without being able to see the dirt. Got it. That was so weird. By the sleeve of Neptune, you've done it. The invisible boatmobile looks fantastic, I assume. It's so not good not to see it again. Now get a load of this news. It'll blow your fins off. We finally apprehended the dirty bubble. Caught him in the act. The act of evil. Open mouth he was, and inches away from Goo Lagoon. Can you imagine? I can't. I have no visual imagination. Same, buddy. But when you get inside the mind of a criminal that you don't need it, you can guess their every move. We got inside more than his mind. We got inside his very being. We're headed straight for Mermalayer now, where he can be safely in Tartar created.
Incarcerated?
No. Sorry. That was weird. I swear I just heard rumbling and then it felt like it shaked in here a little.
I mean, there was a small rumble, but that was probably from the parties.
I swear it shaked in here at the same time that happened.
Got it.
Pretty sure that was an earthquake.
Possibly. There's earthquakes around here. Earthquakes happen all around here.
Okay.
But I will, if it makes you feel better, I've only had one earthquake I've ever noticed around here, and I actually moved. Oh, are you Googling if there was an earthquake just now?
Yeah. I don't know if the internet would have it yet if it just happened a second ago. Within 1 to 5 minutes. I'll have to wait like a little bit. Yeah, it's not showing anything, but I swear that felt like an earthquake.
Definitely could have been. I wouldn't doubt it.
Sorry. It threw me off so hard. Okay.
I've only had one I've ever, like, distinctly noticed.
Incarcerated. To the Mermalayer, Barnacle Boy. Yeah?
And, it moved. It was a good rumble.
Mm.
I was, like, standing near a doorway or something, even like this.
Oh god.
Things in the room.
Honestly, it might have been me just like going silent and then you moving over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really minor if it was one. You only felt a few small tremors in the UK over the years? Yeah, you guys aren't really near any fault lines, are you? It easily could have been you moving. Welcome, friend, welcome to the elusive prison of Fengor. No, wait, I mean the Mermalayer. I live here, don't I? And guess what? That dirty, dirty bubble has struck again, this time within our very walls. Don't ask me how, but he escaped, ran around dirty up the place before quick as night, sneaking back into his impregnable hold, from which escape is impossible. And look what he's done to the place. He's made a whole 9 yards look like a festering nest of negligence. And for what? Revenge? I'd like to see him try. Do something, kid, before we descend into a pit of self-loathing and crime in bikini bottoms spirals out of control. And don't forget those nooks and crannies. Crime flourishes where angelfish fear to dredge. Yeah. Oh, no, that's fair, Andy. That's fair. Being an island makes you really hard to invade. Yeah, no. The UK is really nice in those ways. This doesn't look like the work of the dirty bubble to me. Yeah, it's just algae and barnacle shells. Looks like years of persistent dirt and inefficient cleaning techniques. Like how SpongeBob calls him out. Like that's not right. Alright. Oh, that's a photo. Oh, it's a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy photo. Cry of them in their prime time. Is the frame separate? Okay. I was about to be very confused. I don't remember, like, any of this. I do not remember Merman and Barnacle Boy. Wait, he's Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy?
Yeah, he's Mermaid Man.
But mermaids are inherently female usually.
But he's Mermaid Man.
That's so weird. Is that part of the whole shtick to it? Is mermaids are usually thought of as female and he's a man? And that's part of his character shtick? What's this? Wall of superhero gadgetry. There we go, the balls of steel are clean. Shell comms are clean. Taking care of the bubble wand of doom. paddle ball of fury. I don't remember any of this. I have a really bad memory for stuff, so the fact that I remember like anything from SpongeBob means that I watched it a lot. Oop. You know? Oh, also, I've been like actually doing active stuff every day. And while it's not like super good active stuff, I have been cleaning bare minimum for 25 minutes every day. And I have like way more energy and I feel a lot better. Fun fact. It's very nice. Yeah, my legs are a little sore because like bending over and then like scrubbing things. You're in a squat when you're trying to clean sometimes. Like cleaning, you do a surprising number of squats while cleaning. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed that like while cleaning, a surprising number of squats end up occurring. You're not really thinking about it though. You're just moving so that you can get the thing done. So, I don't know, man. At least I don't think about it. But like, I found an area that I hadn't dusted, I think since we moved into this trailer like 2 years ago, which I know is really bad, but that's besides the point. I cleaned it. It's like right, so behind my monitor basically. It's really hard to get to, so I just haven't cleaned it in a long time. But we were having problems with the ants there the other day. So I finally bit the bullet and deep cleaned over there. Witty. It's a bomb. That thing, one of those things that you can't talk about in airports. Or you will be watched very closely. I remember I never said, like, I almost never said the word bomb in day-to-day life, but when I was a kid and my parents took me to the airport, it was the only word that I wanted to say. Special blender. And it was so hard to be good and not say the word bomb because I knew I wasn't supposed to say it. Because, you know, basic human psychology. I'm not allowed to say that. What if I say it? Attempt to open your laptop on a plane and play a clip from Deus Ex where Jack the pilot shouts, "Oh my god, you see a bomb!" Gosh, I wonder how much trouble you would get for that. Or if nobody would care and they'd be like, cool story, bro. You know, because like I feel like it's gonna be one or the other pretty intensely. Why can I not get this? There we go. Crustaceous hammer. Yeah, I just do not remember this shtick from the show at all. Like, I remember there being police in SpongeBob, but I do not remember Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man. Oh, they made this scalable. Look at that. I can 100% just scale it. Tartar gun. Star mask. But yeah, I have no recollection of this chick from the show. Which is fine. I'm not gonna remember everything. My memory isn't that good. Disguise. It's just a snorkel. Then we got shell bra. Because apparently they need a shell bra. Two characters that are very obviously don't need it, but you know, I guess it's a disguise. They also have a lunchbox though, so I mean, items on this shelf can't be that rare. It's Mermaid Man's belt. It's his utility belt, specifically. In case you mistook it as a different kind of belt. I don't really know what it would be, but you know. Radar. Okay. I wish I remembered this stuff. Or like this gag in the show. But I don't. There is no recollection here. No. Oh no, Andy! Extended prison sentence? You think so? Just for playing a clip of a movie? I don't think so. Like, yeah, you would probably get in trouble, but I don't think that bad. Your well-head event, a great work getting first dragons. I did start to late tonight. We're fighting a heat wave where I'm at, so I started stream a little late to make it so I don't have to fight heat while streaming. I didn't take care of the banana. I mean oxygen tank. It looks like a banana though. I don't know why, but it does. What? Boom. There's an anchor back here. It's just a wall ornament. I just like how Sandy called them out. Like, this is... I think it was SpongeBob. No, SpongeBob called them out. Like, this isn't the dirty bubble. This is just them not cleaning. How is this only half clean? Oh, hello. I guess it is much more 3D than I thought it would be. Fine. Let's try the ladder. There you go. And a life buoy. Alright. Hey, Jagan! Yes, this is the SpongeBob DLC. I was given a review key for it, and I've been having a great time. 15-year prison sentence? Nuh-uh. Yikes. Yeah, definitely don't do that. Alright. Oh, it does have costumes in it. Look at that. Captain Magma. But yeah, I do not remember this shtick. I'm kind of sad that they picked this over the boating school. Which, you know, maybe we still will get the boating school, but... They're going...
The Mermaid Man lair is so good.
I have no recollection of it.
Yeah, but that's your fault, not the DLC's fault.
Mm. Is the one who shook my home a minute ago? Oh yeah, totally. No, I'm... it was either a very small earthquake or it was just Suwey moving while there happened to be rumbling. Don't know which. Or like a rumbling from somewhere. Hey, I don't have any memory of this. It was probably a memorable shtick. I just don't happen to remember this particular one. I gotta get up here. Let me get the top of all of these while I'm here. I missed a small spot. Elastic waistband. The Quickster.
Yeah, do you not remember the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick becomes superheroes?
Nope.
And he becomes the Quickster? Hey, you want to see me run to that rock? Hey, you want to see me?
I remember that though.
Yeah, that's from one of those episodes with Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. He becomes the Quickster.
That sounds like a Patrick thing.
No, it was SpongeBob. SpongeBob was the Quickster.
Hello, this is Patrick.
Hello, this is Patrick.
Elastic waistband.
That was Patrick. Well, Patrick, in the elastic waistband, where Wumbo comes from. Mermaid Man and
Wumbo?
Barnacle Boy is the M. You flip it around for Wumbo. Come on, SpongeBob. I Wumbo, you Wumbo, he, she, me, Wumbo. It's simple Wumbology.
That's vaguely familiar. I do better with audio recollection than visual. I'm not a visual thinker. Why does plus SpongeBob not make sense? Because it's full of holes. Hate it. Want to hear a joke that chat just told me, Suwey?
What?
Why does the plot of SpongeBob not make sense? It's full of holes. Doesn't it hurt?
I'll give you a good star. I give you a pink star.
Wasn't it like a whole thing about getting stars in the driving school?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure.
There we go. Now we got the Quickster. I remember this outfit vaguely. The SpongeBob one. Oh, I'm vaguely remembering this. There is definitely vague recollection now. It's vague, but there's definitely some recollection. Okay. So, like, a lot of the problem with my memory, at least visually, is I usually remember, like, facts about a thing rather than, like, the look of the thing. Like, you ask me what Suwey's dad looked like, I can tell you that I know he has a great beard and mustache, but I couldn't tell you the exact shape of it.
I can tell you he looks weird without one.
I have no idea what he would look like without one. Like, I can just tell you facts about what he looks like, but I couldn't actually, like, explain it very well. Misappear. Is that, like, for Sandy?
Mm-hmm. Sandy was misappear.
What did she do?
She disappears.
Why is she called Misappear?
Because it was a girl. So it's misappear. So the Mrs. disappears.
Okay.
Why else would it be called
Aphantasia. Huh? Are you talking about the whole, like, memory not being visual thing? I know it's a spectrum, and, like, I can see, like, vague shapes. Yeah. I do not have a visual memory at all. If Suwey wasn't in the room with me, I'd only be able to state facts about what he looks like. I see him every day. Almost, like, any waking moment almost, I can look at him. You know? Take him away for, like, 30 seconds, and I can just kind of give you, like, facts about what he looks like. But I would not be able to... I don't know. I just don't do visual. Oh, me too, Sassbot. Similar. I can't really draw images. So I can get vague color splotches. Which makes it so I can tell what colors look good together. So I can, like, put color splotches next to each other. And, like, I can get the general shape of an apple and a red color splotch, right? But it's, like, hard to get that color splotch in there. But I can get the idea of, like, the shape. Oh, yeah, same, Sassbot. Same. Take care of your eyes. Thank you. I will look away from my monitor for a bit. Thank you. What was really weird is when I went to go visit my family, it's like, yeah, I recognize my mom as my mom and my dad is my dad and everything, but visually, if you had put them next to people who look a lot like them, I might have struggled. If it was in a lineup, I'm not 100% sure I could tell you I would get it for sure. If it was completely visual. Especially if it was just, like, pictures. It would be really hard. You can create and rotate 3D objects in your mind? What? How do you do that? Suboy, can you create and rotate 3D objects in your mind? In your mind's eye?
Probably.
Can you think of 3D objects and, like, move them in your mind?
Yeah.
What?
I know that if I'm intimate with the object, no.
I can barely kind of sort of do it with the concept of a cube. But it takes a lot of brain power and it's slow. It'd be fooled by stunt doubles and spaceballs. Yes. Cubey. No, like my spatial awareness is horrible. When I took dance class, for PE, when we did our performance, I didn't get marked down because I didn't do the dance or didn't know the dance. I got marked down because my spatial awareness is horrible. And so I wasn't quite spaced perfectly. I had no idea I was spaced wrong. I thought I was 100% right. And like I require having like a little tape marker on the floor or some kind of thing to get my bearing because I can't do distances or anything hardly. It takes a lot for me to ingrain like distances in. I can tell you that a centimeter is like way smaller than an inch, but I cannot tell you how different they are really. You know, all I can say is like there's at least 2 centimeters in an inch because I know that to be a fact. Yeah, it might have been a firework before. Where's your spatial awareness is god tier? You score in top 0.1%? Jeez. Oh, my math and logic is surprisingly good considering how ditzy and dumb I can be. And like, I'm totally chill talking about being kind of ditzy, right? That is something that is not an insecurity. Totally fine. Feel free to make fun of me for it, right? I'm aware I'm that way. I really struggle with social situations in that front sometimes.
You're getting better.
I am getting better, but that's only because you're teaching me how to be better, Suwey.
Hard life.
I have to have you actively teaching me. And like, I mean, your friend, Spy has actually called me out a couple times for messing up socially and not realizing. Too, so.
What do you mean called you out?
I don't know.
One thing right earlier?
One thing.
That wasn't really a call, that was a joke.
I know, but
It was a joke in how you worded it.
I can't think of the exact occurrence, but I know I've been...
And you caught yourself, and he said it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. I don't know. You start daydreaming in the cockpit, overshoot the airport, and run out of fuel and crash? Oh no. I probably wouldn't.
No,
Maybe.
You'd be too fucking anxious.
Yeah, I'd be too anxious to mess up. I think the obvious... Oh, it's mayo there. Nasty. They were drinking mayo. That's like the shape of a cup. You have to worry about social situations if you never get into them. I mean, you're not wrong.
Like, what is it? 70% of my job is social situations?
Mm-hmm. I'm getting better at social situations. It's kind of funny because I want to be a project manager and like that is a lot of socialization. And like handling tough conversations and stuff. So it's kind of funny that I want to be a project manager, which is like some of the skills I'm worst at. But I also really enjoy working on those skills. And I really enjoy people in general. And trying to help people and make things work. You know? So... I guess it does check out. It's just a little funny. Ew, Andy, ew. Hate being social when you don't have to be vocal unless you know someone you're comfortable. You start shaking? Oh no. For me, it's just like actual proper, like, intense confrontation that I have to worry. Like, if I'm complaining about something or whatever, it's fine. But if it's gonna devolve into an argument, I freak out. Like, if I get overly passionate about whatever it is, then I freak out. But otherwise, I'm fine. And I'm also, like, very much an open book. And I'm still learning, like... So, it was very hard for me to learn about boundaries growing up. Because I'm such an open book, personally. It took me a long time to realize that other people have boundaries. That I might not have. And and that it's very important to respect them even though I don't understand them. Like, that's something that took me a lot of, like, more of my life than I'd care to admit to learn. I had it figured out by the time I started streaming, but high school was a different story. Apparently what your brain does well is language stuff. You listen to music in one language and read another while paying attention. What? Oh no, QB. Do you ever, like, join voice chats or, like, try to voice chat on, like, Discord and stuff? Costumes of the International Justice League of Super Acquaintances. What about Patrick? Who would you be, SpongeBob? I'd be Elastic Waistband. Those stretching powers, I could change the channel without finding the remote. What am I missing on this chair? There we go. You can be around some people your own age and get used to them quickly in person. No, that's fair. You have problems understanding what people say over the phone or digital voice like Discord unless they have a very good mic. I agree with you, Andy. I definitely agree. I have to turn people up a lot sometimes. I mean, headphone mics just tend to suck, QB. It's clarity, yeah. True. But if you turn them up, you can kind of get like a fake clarity going, you know? I don't know. I highly recommend if you are in voice comms a lot to get a standalone mic, even if it's a cheap USB mic. When playing Deep Rock Galactic last night with your friend, you could only understand about 33% what he was saying, even at 200% Discord volume. That's fair. I struggle a lot with certain accents, and I always feel really bad. This one's removable, but it was your first time using it the other day, and it didn't want to work. Oh yeah, your blue snowballs works totally fine. I've never had problems understanding you, Andy. Unless it was accent related. Yeah, it's always just accent related. I think maybe you're a little quiet, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I've been in voice with ya. Is that a firework? Okay. I didn't hear it actually pop. I heard the bacoom, but not the pop. There's a bunch of people in the neighborhood celebrating something today. Yeah, but there's parties everywhere in the neighborhood today. Are you sure that's a firework?
Yes. Absolutely. I heard it.
Okay.
A gun does not sound like a gun.
Okay. Great. I should know that.
You should know that.
I should know that guns and fireworks sound nothing alike. But do I really
do sound
know?
similar.
They do sound similar. They're both a big boom noise.
Yeah, but not the same.
Big scary boom noise. That's all I know. They both a big scary boom noise. Ooh, ooh. I'm like a cat.
I'm sure the cats are not happy.
Oh, I'm sure the cats are not happy. Though my cat doesn't seem to flinch from fireworks.
He does from loud noises.
Fair.
Which is a firework. Especially that close.
Someone found a snowball for 2025. You had a few fireworks there too for some reason. Interesting. Every 4th of July, it's time to play gun or firework. Pretty much. You heard so much about not getting a Yeti unless you want to set up a dedicated room for it. I don't know, man. I had a standalone mic that I used for ages while streaming initially. That was pretty good. I mean, no, it wasn't. Andy, were you there in the yeah, you were there in the pre-SM7B days. You weren't there in the pre-good computer days, but you were there in the pre-SM7B days. It wasn't pretty. Yeah, but you weren't there for a computer that could barely play RimWorld days, were you? Okay. Got it. Oh, you were there for the PC building stream? Okay. You're right then. Oh, the RAM issues don't remind me.
There would be no PC building stream now. No, it would just be Suwey.
It would just be Suwey. Yeah. Hey, you enjoy building PCs.
I do. It's a great time.
I don't enjoy the actual action, but I will do it if I have to.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun.
You seem to also kind of low-key enjoy troubleshooting.
It's satisfying when I find the result.
Plus, you like being able to rub in my face that you figured it out.
No, it makes me feel good.
True. We're both kind of that way in our own way, though. We like feeling helpful, so me with the cleaning.
Plus, it adds to my database of figuring out how to fix things.
True. Once you fix an issue once, you then know that it's a potential issue to solve in the future.
How's that come up?
Money.
Okay.
RAM issues? Yeah, I didn't know how to seat RAM all the way. I don't like fireworks.
I don't like fireworks that close.
I don't even know where they are.
It's
Is it next door?
yeah.
We still have a dead firework in our yard that we didn't even shoot off.
It wasn't a dead firework.
Used firework, my bad. Oil? Patrick's identity card? What is Patrick doing here? I don't like fireworks. That's just my personal opinion. People can enjoy them. But it's not for me. I'm not gonna stop other people from enjoying them, but I myself don't enjoy them. You won't find me buying fireworks. You know? Other people can enjoy things that I don't enjoy. Perfectly fine. But... about the quiet ones, I don't mind as much, but honestly, my thing with fireworks is just that they're kind of like such a safety hazard. Like, it's so much risk for so very little reward. When you consider how many people get injured by fireworks every year, it's just not worth it. And you know, there's only one way I can make sure I don't get injured by a firework, but... they're not built for stupid people, and there's too many stupid people in the world for people not to be getting hurt by it. I'm sorry, but people are too dumb. In my opinion.
Huh?
People are too dumb to be dealing with fireworks.
I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, you have some common sense too, boy, but think about this. You're very smart in the common sense field compared to a lot of people.
Think I don't know that?
You gotta be stupid to be injured. I don't know, freak stuff can happen with fireworks too.
That's why you light it and stand back.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work, your first instinct is gonna be, oh, I'll just go check on it.
No, your first instinct is to give it a second.
My brain says, oh, I should go check on it.
No, you should give it a second.
I mean, logically I know that, but emotionally, I want to go check on it. Deep fried turkey, on the other hand, is very high reward. Ooh, yes. Say the same about cars or dolphins? No, that's fair. People don't give fireworks the respect they need to, though. Safety standard is 30 minutes. Yeah, there's no way the other average person lets it sit there for 30 minutes. There's no way the average Joe waits that long. Suwey doesn't like fireworks either.
Dislike fireworks. I like fireworks. They're fun. I don't like them when they're being shot off super close by. When, like, I'm not the one. Because then it's just random loud sudden sound. That's not fun.
I don't like random sudden loud sound either. Programming today is a race between software engineers striving to build bigger and better foolproof programs, and the universe trying to produce bigger and better fools. So far, the universe is winning. True. Exactly, Andy. I mean, yeah, you guys probably wouldn't walk up to us, but that all do, but I would. I 100% would. I'm not gonna pretend I wouldn't, because I would. 100%. would trust it to be a dud way too fast, and then I would die. If you have a dud, you would dump water on it, scoop it up, and dump it into another water bucket. See, that's pretty smart. I hope I'd have that level of caution. Would I actually? That sounds like a very logical way to handle a dud, though. And if someone says there's a problem with that approach, then I don't know. That's why I don't handle fireworks. You've been wanting to get a bucket of sand in case you have a battery fire? My dad actually used to do a city firework thingy. The fireworks shows that some cities put on for the 4th. My dad ran one of them. Before I was born, he did this. I think he only did it before being married, but he did. And he got pretty high up in the chain of command of it, too. Just because he was there volunteering so many years. Do. Or spicy pillows. Oh, I hate that subreddit. It's so terrifying. I'm good. It is horror. And the fact that people just like have these batteries that are like in that bad a shape and they're like, oh, I'll just keep it. Like, what? What are they going on about? That they just don't care. I was gonna say if that belt doesn't count as something. Yeah. There we go. Hey, do it. We cannot change bedding with the cat in the bed. We would be fully...
I've done it before.
You have? How did he react?
He attacked me. He thought I was trying to play or something and he jumped me.
Yeah, he jumps people easily.
Did you think of that clip I sent you this morning?
Clip. The one where I reacted in front of you and it was very cute?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you thought about it a little bit.
Not past seeing it.
Not like you'd want to figure out how to train that.
I mean, I would want to train a cat to cuddle like that video you sent me, but
you train that,
I don't know.
That seemed like something that you just can't train into a cat. Other than the cat likes it, so it gets trained into it that it can go more, do more. You know, you'd only be able to encourage it.
I mean, a lot of pet behaviors are you just have to encourage it.
It's true.
It's not uncommon. Positive reinforcement goes a long way on pets. There you go. Take my cat, for example. Positive reinforcement definitely seems to work on him when it comes to leaving our trailer.
Positive reinforcement? Or like treat reinforcement?
Treat reinforcement is positive reinforcement. Do you disagree?
No, I'm just saying I'm pretty sure if you didn't give him treats, you wouldn't do it.
I mean, yeah, he wouldn't do it if he didn't get a reward for doing it, but... Lithium-ion batteries produce their own oxygen. It can even convert water or CO2 from fire extinguishers into oxygen fuel because of the way they burn. That's terrifying. That's so cute, QB. Andy, I feel like in Stream Raiders, once you have a couple things at level 30, like it feels like getting to level 30 on subsequent units gets a lot easier. Is there a max number of duplicate units you can have? Is that a thing? She didn't move till you got into bed. I love it. Once you have 3 of any given unit, you can put 3 into all 3 battles. And level them even faster. True. I feel like them adding the quest feature, which I know isn't like a new addition or anything, but it really did speed up progression. You know? No limit on dupes? Okay. Aw, it's cute, QB. I don't really get this little thing either. Hey Cody, how's it going? That's fun. Yeah, there's mariachi music coming from the entire neighborhood. There's so many different parties happening. I don't think my mic's... Like, I don't think you guys are really hearing it at all, but... Yeah. Oh, what did you go to the UK for? What's this? How did they get Mayo on their giant screen? I do have this nozzle now. Which honestly might be better. Doing that just to circles. I think I prefer this one though. Even though it doesn't get everything perfectly. It's just so much faster. There we go. Ooh, a button. A lot of buttons. Bing. No idea what the purpose of this thing is. It's their computer. I don't think it's a holiday buzz. Mariachi is just sad cowboy dudes, is it? Not sure I see that, but like a lot of mariachi music has like if you hear it from afar, all you will hear is like the bass that you hear at a circus, you know. Do 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 do. Don't they?
What?
The mariachi music, like half the time, like
Oh, yeah.
that's what you hear from far away is like that kind of circus noise of do 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 do. Cause I don't know what instrument plays that sound, but that's what you hear from far away. That's the only one that like you hear. You know? So in a way from far away, it kind of sounds like circus music because you're just hearing do 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 do. Or like Scooby sneaking music? I don't know. Andy. Where's my ladder? There you go. Oh yeah, I'm so annoyed. I was working on this big project for my Discord server. And then like it just doesn't work right, and I had to end up contacting support about it, and I haven't heard back yet, which like is totally fine that I haven't heard back yet, because I contacted them like late Friday evening, so I don't expect to hear back for a while. But I'm so annoyed. I spent so long on that project. Downloaded a bunch of games. I have no idea what to play. Maybe we'll do more Slime Rancher. Ooh, have fun. I wonder if the second one has gotten any updates in a while. Because I played it on YouTube. But it didn't have a ton that was out yet when I was playing. So I got like as far as progression was at the time. And then chucked it in my play again later category. Oh, also I've gotten so into knitting lately, chat, that now I'm starting to ask like all my really close friends like if they want me to knit them anything, just because like I know pretty soon I'm gonna run out of things that like I'm gonna use that I could knit.
You basically got a couple orders now, though.
I do have a couple orders, basically.
My dad asked for a scarf.
Your dad asked for a scarf, yes.
My aunt.
Yeah, pot holder for your aunt. Though I'm surprised your aunt doesn't want more than that.
I think she might ask for more later.
Yeah. Which super acquaintance would I be? Super good question, Patrick. Yeah. So I do have a few orders. I'm gonna make my sweater first, though. I'd be the quickster, able to travel vast distances at the speed of light. I cannot do a SpongeBob voice. I'd have to listen to them and like go back and forth a few times. That's how you learn voices, is you have to hear it over and over and then like repeat after it to really get an idea of the intonation. Or at least that's how I do it. I can't do it from memory. If so, I want that. Because I know SpongeBob was like on the higher pitch end of things. But I don't really remember. I don't think it's a voice I could do. Might help it with that. 100% of the game already, you know, 200 hours. Jeez. Oh no, Cupie. See, I'm super big on knitting at the moment. I just bought a pack of double-pointed needles, like knitting needles, interchangeable knitting needles, which don't ask me how expensive the interchangeables was. Because, like, okay, so I could have spent half the price on interchangeables, but got something that, like, a lot of reviews said fell apart. Or I, you know, did what I did and spent more and got the good stuff. And then I also bought, like, a $10 pack of a bunch of different crochet hooks. And they're, like, they got nice grippies on them. It says, but look, the interchangeable needles may have been $70. But I'm gonna start needing the ones with the cord on them pretty soon anyway because of the sweater I want to make, and I'd have to buy like $20 worth of them for the sweater I wanted to make anyway, and then like I'm gonna do more projects after the sweaters, so it just made sense. That is all I have to say. And plus, like, knitting is a thing that I go back to a lot. Like, I might go like a year or two without knitting, but I always find myself coming back to it and knitting again after a few years. So it's not like that, you know, won't be used. And I found all these patterns online that I want to do too, which I'm really excited to like dive into. Get it? I'm playing SpongeBob, it's underwater, and I said dive into. Haha, so funny. Aren't I right? I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Much funny, very wow. There you go. But yeah, so I'm so excited. Especially because for me, knitting is a thing that I can just do. Like, so when I'm working, once I have a job, when I'm in meetings, in order to focus, I'm gonna have to be knitting. Like, I know that's weird, but I gotta be doing something. Or I will not focus. If I don't have something to do with my hands, I'm gonna not be paying attention to what I'm supposed to pay attention to. And it makes me very happy to like just sit there and knit. Because I can still pay full attention. I 100% know what's going on. And I'm over there knitting. I learned in while I was at college that knitting is a great mechanism to help me focus. It's like it's a fidget toy basically. Except I'm actually properly making something that's going to be of use, which makes it even better. It makes me emotionally happier. Otherwise, I will have my brain go like, hey, what if you grab your phone right now? But if I'm knitting, I'm just happily knitting away. And, you know, my ears are still attached, so my word processing center isn't being taken over. Because the problem with going on my phone is my word processing center in my brain gets too busy and I cannot pay attention anymore. If I'm like scrolling Twitter or something, my brain processing center ain't there. Brain processing, word processing. Hey, check-in! How are you doing? But yeah, I'm getting really into knitting. Again, I have learned how to purl stitch. And I have learned both ribbing and like a standard stockinette stitch. So now, because before this like bout of knitting that I'm going through right now, I only knew how to do the garter stitch, which is basically just doing a knit over and over and over and over and over, and then you flip it around and keep just doing the basic knit stitch. But I mean, when you're working flat anyway, I don't know for sure how it works in the round because I haven't learned how to knit in the round yet, which is going to be my next project because the sweater that I want to make requires knitting in the round, so I'm going to learn it. Oh my gosh, do you guys want to see the sweater I plan to make? I can send you guys the pattern, like the link to it. It's so cute. I'm going to make it light pink, and then like all those spots that are kind of like details are gonna be white. Make it sound like a disease. I don't know, man. I go through phases pretty hard of like doing different hobbies, but the thing is like the hobbies usually eventually come back as something I want to do. If that makes sense. If I genuinely enjoy it, I'll want to come back to it later. So like knitting falls in that category of like, oh, well, I'm gonna come back to this later. I know I will. Even if I spend like a few years not doing it, I know I'll end up going back to it. Cause like pre-COVID, I was knitting a lot. And then I stopped when COVID hit because learning turned online. And so I didn't really have to sit through super long lectures anymore. Like that became a thing of the past. And then recently I've been having the urge to knit again. And so I'm making pot holders right now. So like whenever I'm learning a new stitch, I make a pot holder because it's like just like it's a thing that takes long, like it's enough stitches to really reinforce and learn the stitch well. And like learn what kind of mistakes can happen and how to fix them, and like, you know, certain mistakes you have to completely undo the row. Certain mistakes you can just like pick up the thread in the right way, and like you can't tell that there's a mistake there. So it's learning all those little details. Of how to fix different mistakes, because while you're knitting you're gonna make mistakes. Like there's no way you don't mess it up in some way. So yeah. And like I've gotten a lot more comfortable just completely going back and like removing a row. That used to be something I was really scared of because I thought I wouldn't be able to pick my stitches back up, but it turns out it's like not hard at all. So that was really nice to learn, is that it's okay to undo a couple rows of knitting if you notice like a mistake that's glaring you in the face. And I mean, like, yeah, that piece is gonna take you a little longer because you put in the effort to fix it, but you have put in the effort and it is fixed, you know? So you got that going for you then. I think like that's one of the big problems with garter stitch is it's really hard to tell when you've messed up. Cause it's not like a consistent pattern to see necessarily. Not in the same way that like stockinette stitches. Because that's like the one thing I quickly learned when doing stockinette stitch is it's really easy to see mistakes in stockinette stitch. So you know when you've made a mistake, which is really nice, because then like you can reverse it and take care of the drop stitch or whatever way earlier. But also stitches just don't drop in the same way they do as like in garter stitch, stitches just don't drop very much. I don't know why. Like if they drop, you don't lose multiple rows usually. Or in stockinette you can. But you can pick it back up, so it just takes a crochet hook and a little bit of fiddling. I've also been like avidly watching like crafty content on YouTube. Like I am fully down this rabbit hole right now. I don't know why. But if I was neurodivergent, which I very easily could be, it would be probably called a oop 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 oop. Oh, what do they call it? What do they call it? Oop. I don't know what they call it. I've forgotten. No, it wouldn't be called a oop 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 oop. That was me just messing up. And expressing that I had messed up. I'm pretty sure you knew that. Pretty sure you're just making fun of me. Up here. No, 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 up! That doesn't help. Any dirt? A wool? Dirt? I have no idea how to get the spot where the ladder is. I go up the ladder again from a slightly different angle, it looks like. That works. It's funny that that works. Oh my gosh, this is a mess. Look at all that. And like you don't see it, so you don't know it's there. But there's so much dirt here. I see why this is not considered clean. This thing is very annoying to get clean. You know, that doesn't change the angle massively. Okay. Ever. Look at that nastiness. Okay, I got the case finally. So I just need to finish getting the sand. Oh, and the console too. Apparently. I got the base. I'm offering jump and clean services right now. You just need this to count as clean, please. There you go. And go ahead and switch it on. There they are. Okay, do I have more interesting things to do? I don't want to do these pillars. They don't look super fun. I'll do them toward the end. Oh, so turns out I finished Star Trek the original series. I didn't even realize I had finished it. So now I'm on to the animated series because I'm watching in release order. And that's what's next. And I'm really enjoying the animated series. Like, I think I like it more than the original series. I don't know why, but I just really am enjoying it. Look, you try streaming. You know how many places your mind has to be at once to do a successful stream? No, because you're not the one streaming. Well, I don't know that you've never streamed, but you know what I mean. Yeah, the animated series is really good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's on Paramount. It seems like all of Star Trek is on Paramount from what I can tell. So, I don't know, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the animated series. The art style is very, like, very apt for the time period. Like, it's very much art, like an animated American series from that time period. It has a very comic booky kind of look to it. But I actually really enjoy it. Paramount has always owned Star Trek, except for what CBS owns? Okay. I don't know. All I know is I have access to Paramount Plus right now, because Suwey's dad is paying for it. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think Paramount is currently meant to be a more temporary subscription. So I'm trying to enjoy it while I have access to it. And I'm sure Suwey's dad won't get rid of it until I tell him I'm done with it. Watching stuff on it. Which I will when I finish, but I am still working through Star Trek. So it was funny because, like, when I first started watching it, I had just mentioned to Suwey's dad, like, oh yeah, like, I want to start watching Star Trek, but it's only on Paramount, and we don't have Paramount. He's like, yeah, we do. He was just like, here we go, here's the code. Which, like, we're not password sharing necessarily. We literally are in the same household, so.
I was to say, what do you mean we're not password sharing? It's actually absolutely what that is. It's just we live together, so we use the same accounts.
Yeah.
It's expected.
It's expected.
Families use accounts, all the same accounts.
Yep. Families share their account among themselves.
Yeah, you think the 5-year-old son's got his own Netflix account?
No, a 5-year-old is not gonna have their own Netflix. This thing is such a pain. There's a bunch of things that are a pain to clean in this area. This is gonna take forever. There's so many, like, crevices to this thing. Okay, so I can stand on the little, like, circle things. Okay, so that counts as that is done. So that makes it a lot easier. Okay, so that middle one is done. So it's just the bottom one here, and then these things on the side. I got one of the side things. Other side thing. There you go. And I just gotta get the main thing. But yeah, no, I've been having a really good time watching through Star Trek and knitting. I'm so excited to start on that sweater that I'm gonna make. It's gonna be a super light pink, and then, like, the details are gonna be this, like, kind of creamy white color. And it's gonna be so cute. Paramount is CBS? Oh. They took Star Trek Prodigy off. How do you watch that then? Whoa, the wall of superhero gadgetry. Look, SpongeBob, the bubble wand of doom! The tartar gun! That's even the paddle ball of fury! Imagine having the skill set to use that. Alright. There's a big deal on the Star Trek forums. It isn't available anymore? That is awful. I hate how places will just like get rid of stuff like that. Like apparently there was a movie or whatever on Disney Plus that was only available for like a few weeks. Like it premiered and then within weeks was just not able to be watched anymore. Has anyone else heard about this? It's quite something. And I don't like it. The cancel Prodigy. Interesting. Is that like the current one? I'm sorry, I am only up to the animated series. I do not know the order of things yet. Canceling would have been too bad if they removed it as well. Weird. Why would they bother removing it? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, why bother? What is the purpose of doing that? A new animated one that targets kids? Oh. That's lame. I'm really liking the original animated series. I'm like thoroughly enjoying it. It is so enjoyable. The original series that was animated. Because, like, basically it's the Enterprise and everything, so I believe it's part of the original series technically because it follows the Enterprise. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my assumption. It's like each X series or whatever is focusing on a different space vessel. And so the original series is the Enterprise, and then after that, I know that it goes to other ones. I just don't know what they're called yet at the moment. Starship Enterprise. Boldly go where no man has gone before. The balkanization of stream services is why you don't currently have any. I don't understand. I do not know the term balkanization. Suwey, is the word balkanization something you know?
Huh?
The word balkanization.
Got it.
What does it mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Balkanization.
Ball. Like Balkani.
Balkanization.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Something about bulking?
What's bulking?
I know the word. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Fragmentation of a larger region or state into a smaller region of state.
Oh, so the
Which may be hostile or
fragmentation.
cooperative.
The hostile fragmentation of the different.
So it's the fragmentation of a larger region. So it's like,
Because they're talking about
like when,
streaming services.
places rebel inside their own country and try to become their own little town, or not their own little country or something.
Ah, that makes sense. Thank you, Andy.
So like the Civil War when it became the North versus South.
Yeah. I understand now. Thank you. I used to watch a lot of Netflix back in the day, but like I don't like how their direction they're going, so I'm against that. Also, like, most of the stuff that was really good that Netflix had has been removed, so... Or I've already watched it all. Used to basically just be Netflix doing it properly, then every other company started wanting pieces of the pie, yeah. Yep. Content was gradually removed from Netflix, now everyone has... And their mother has a streaming service, and most of the content seems to be exclusive to one of them, yeah. At some point I want to get HBO Max, but I want to finish Star Trek first. I think the biggest question of the universe at the moment is, will Suwey actually take the day off tomorrow? Because I've been pretty good about being chill on Sundays and not actually doing work. I'm trying to like push myself to spend a full day where I don't like get stuff done. Beyond like hobby stuff. So like no job searching, no working on the job search at all. Day mainly focused on playing games with friends, which like honestly is kind of dependent on having friends around. But it sounds like I'm at least gonna have like a double date with Suwey and two friends of ours. That's also a couple online. I'm on the animated series. So I'm watching in release order. And so the animated series follows the Enterprise and is directly after the original series. So it still has William Shatner's Kirk and everything, but it's animated. So you don't get to see him, which kind of sucks because like he is kind of a hot man, but that's okay. It is a shame, though. That is the biggest downside to the animated series. But the biggest upside to the series is like they're able to do stuff that like was pretty much impossible with budget and with technology at the time. Like in live action. So they're able to do some of their wilder ideas that they probably had and wanted to do in the original series, but just didn't have the equipment to do so. And just as a result of the times. Like the shrinking episode where they all shrink and get teeny tiny. I watched that one pretty recently. But that would have been a fortune to do with live action. You're watching Voyager right now? You started with The Next Generation, tried DS9 but kind of abandoned it years ago. Okay. I have only seen the original series. So I can't give like a lot of opinions yet. I started with the original series and I'm going in release order, and I'm on to the animated series, which is the second thing that got released. Which the original series was a little bit of a slog. It was good, but it was definitely a little bit of a slog to get through. It just felt like there was very little character development. And so like the character development that did happen definitely got like clung on to, right? Because you got like the long live the we come in peace, long live and prosper Spock thingy. And that was just like a one-off thing at one point, and then like people really clung to it and it became a huge thing later in the series. So I watched the like remastered version of it, but it was pretty good. My biggest gripe is honestly just how slow it is, because like content nowadays, especially TV, it definitely goes at a faster pace usually than that was written in. And I do prefer a faster paced show, but that's personal preference.
So, you still like the Orville more so far?
Yeah, I like the Orville more so far, but now that I'm getting to the original series, I'm starting to really like Star Trek a lot. The original series showed the rec room for the first time, where it has the like thing that brings them into like simulated environments and stuff.
The holodeck?
Yeah. But they just call it the rec room.
Yeah.
At least in the animated series. They don't have a proper name for it yet.
But you're seeing a lot of the Orville inspiration now.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty blatant.
Yeah, Orville's almost like basically a ripoff of Star Trek.
It is a ripoff. But the Family Guy man wanted to make his own Star Trek.
They're both great, though.
Oh, yeah. Practical effects are age well much better. Than all.
What's that spot? Asio Orville felt like modernized version of the Next Generation. Interesting. Holodeck is a Next Generation thing. Okay, but the animated series has a holodeck, but they don't call it a holodeck yet. It's just Rec Room that has like the holodeck technologies in it. Yeah. And that's the first time you see something of that like technology idea.
It sounds like they hadn't really thought of the idea until the animated series. Because they had...
Yeah, and then fans probably like saw it, yeah, and latched on. There's definitely like it's very clear that fans saw certain things and latched onto it, and the show ran with it. Like that is very obvious as the show goes on.
That's smart.
Oh yeah, super smart. But it's very obvious that that's what happened. And if it didn't happen, if that's not the way it happened, I'd be shocked because, like, it definitely feels that way. It was a parody of it intentionally? Yeah, it is a parody. The Orville's better than most modern Star Trek. I don't know, I really liked the Orville. And that's what got me watching Star Trek to begin with. Right? So, I'm sure, what's his face that did the Orville would be very happy to know people watched the Orville and then were inspired to go watch Star Trek once they found out it was similar, because, like, I didn't know anything about Star Trek. I just thought it was like some random old show that I wouldn't care about. And then I got super into it. So these things are like most of the dirt. I'm pretty... Oh my gosh, how am I gonna get that? Okay. That's gonna be a pain in the butt. I'm gonna start on it. Get as clean as I possibly can from this angle. Alright, I think that's the best I can do from here. Let me do the same thing from here. So, like, all this stuff that became iconic wasn't necessarily supposed to become iconic. It's just, like, people latched onto it. Or at least it feels that way while watching Star Trek. Like, they just said it as, because it was part of the script, whatever. And then, like, you can tell as more seasons happen, they become a lot more excited to say their iconic lines. Discovery is interesting. Oh boy. There wasn't much fan response, really. Interesting. It's a cult phenomenon, fair. Explained, you need to watch old Doctor Who. You watch from the 2005 till now. I watched what they had on Netflix back in the day. Back when it was like super popular to watch Doctor Who, I would watch it on Netflix. So like, we're thinking like circa like 2013, 2014. I think I stopped watching in like 2016. I watched it off Netflix. And then, I just kind of stopped after a while. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the show, it's just like, I wasn't interested anymore. I'd be down to try watching it again. This is the worst thing about this game. I feel like I fully cleaned a thing, and then it's like, lol, you barely scratched the surface. Because I get to the point where I'm like, yeah, I see no dirt, and then the game's like, right here, right here, right here, right here. There's dirt everywhere, Suwey. What are you doing? So, Star Trek was not a popular show when it was first syndicated. That's why the original series got canceled after 3 seasons. Okay.
Became a cult following that became popular. Star Trek never really took off like Star Wars ever. But
No, it's still kind of a bit of a cult following show nowadays,
yeah,
even.
but that's also because Star Trek was never really able to break into movies like Star Wars started.
Yeah. I thoroughly am enjoying it, though. And it's very relaxing to just watch Star Trek in it. I gotta say, it's a very good time. Which is funny, right? Because growing up, my mom would be sitting there crocheting, which is also making a piece of fabric with yarn.
A form of.
It's very similar. She'd be doing that and watching Star Trek. And now that I'm an adult, I am watching Star Trek and knitting. It's definitely an apple doesn't fall far from the tree situation. And personally, I think it's hilarious. I know, I remember like watching her do it and I was like, wow, that looks so boring. That show looks boring. Right? Because I was like 6 or 7. And now here I am. Doing the exact thing I saw my mom do when I was little. And little me went, wow, that looks boring. And now adult me is at peace doing the same exact thing my mother does. I'd like try to watch this show with her. And then I'd just get bored. As a little kid.
It's yeah.
I was pretty much just like, why are they wearing funny uniforms? And that was about it. That was the entirety of what I understood. Yeah.
Eventually, you were gonna have to go to something. Ran out of sci-fi shows to watch.
Dude, I go
running low.
through sci-fi shows intensely. Give me some sci-fi or apocalyptic type stuff. Yes. So here is the sauce of all evil. Sure, SpongeBob. The dirty bubble, trapped in the brine of justice. Was that the dirty bubble? You thought you were salty, but not salty enough, my filthy friend. Star Trek is on the headier side? What do you mean by that? See, I haven't given Star Wars a proper chance. I've only tried watching it once, and I was hanging out with my high school boyfriend, and we were 2 high schoolers watching a movie together who were dating. So were we really watching the movie? Were we really watching the movie? I think we all know the answer. Yeah, I plan to watch Stargate too as well eventually. Andromeda is pretty good. It was written by Gene Roddenberry, the guy who originally made Star Trek. Isn't Andromeda the name of a planet or something in Star Trek? The name sounds very familiar. Babylon 5 on Mondays? I don't know what that is.
That's technically
It's an IRL galaxy. Okay. See, but the thing is like, I was watching in release order, I believe, with the guy I was dating at the time. And I just did not care about the old movies. And by the time we got to like some of the newer stuff, I was just like, oh, well, I know I don't care about this. You know? And you know, by the time I was watching Star Wars with the guy, I had been dating him for several months and we were in high school. Need I say more? We were a little distracted by there being a member of the opposite sex right there, rather than the movie. See, the thing is, he'd try to get me to focus on the movie, and I'd just be like, but I don't wanna. I was the problem.
You're always the problem.
I am always the problem. You're right, Suwey. See that, chat? He's toxic. Totally. Yeah. I don't know. It's like trying to get into Star Trek, and not Star Trek, Star Wars, was one of the few things I remember from that high school relationship. Beyond that, I just remember his mother, like, always just, like, letting us, like, have the door closed, and, like, she'd straight up go run errands while we were in the house, and, like, take his little brother, and it was like, we're teenagers. You know what you're doing, right?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
She was very wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but that boy's father made him too scared to really do much. That boy's father was the type where he's like, if you look at her wrong, she'll get preggers. And he liked his father more than his mother, so his mother was great. I really liked going to her house. She was just a fun lady to talk to. Star Trek is heady in that a lot of episodes cover heavy topics like racism, LGBTQ issues, what it means to be human. Yeah, and I love it.
Something easier for you with Star Trek as well is that it's more bite-sized than a Star Wars movie.
I know, I do like how it's bite-sized. Also, like, my issue with Star Wars is a lot of it is just, like, action, which, like...
No, it's not.
Really?
No.
Oh, was it the politics that got me? I don't know.
It's the opposite.
Star Wars was politics?
There's a lot more politics than you think.
Yeah, I don't do politics in my shows. The mom sounds like a real bro. She was! She was, dude. Like, when the guy I dated in high school broke up with me, like, I was low-key just sad that I wouldn't be going over to his mom's house. Because I really enjoyed going over to his mom's house, like... I don't know. It was always just such a chill time there. It was such a chill home life there. Then his dad always just kind of seemed jaded towards the world. I think because his mother ended up becoming a lesbian. So yeah, they were. I really liked going to the mother's house though. We didn't have to, we weren't being checked in on all the time when we were there, which was nice. Especially as high schoolers. Enough said on that. Look, high schoolers' hormones are intense. When I was in high school, I did not believe that things would like even out as you get older, but they definitely do.
No teenager believes it.
I know, no teenager believes it. They're like, yeah, I'm always gonna feel like this. And it's like, no, you're not. And you will be glad of it. It will stop you from making some very stupid decisions. Just part of being human. I mean, some people, of course, never have those feelings and whatnot. There's always going to be outliers, but I don't know. I have a feeling that my experience is like fairly close to the average experience in that sense. It can be heavy sometimes. You tried watching some with your fiance and she had just lost a relative. Oh no. Oh no, Codingale. Yeah. Star Trek can definitely focus on some heavy topics. I like it though. Like, I like shows that focus on heavier topics like that. I also really like the tasteful way that it was handled, I feel like, in Star Trek. I'm not like super educated on that kind of stuff, but I felt like it was definitely handled in a very good way. Sea fungus. I wonder if Star Trek was like seen as like a super liberal show back in the day. Because they focus on like things like LGBTQ and whatnot, you know? I wonder if it was controversial in that way. It still is? Okay, interesting. I don't know. As far as like LGBTQ goes, I'm like, I'm straight. You know, it makes logical sense that the average person would need to be straight for the population to keep multiplying, and that kind of is like the goal of evolution, is to make population keep going bigger so that if there's big extinction event, hopefully someone lives enough to keep it going. But also, like, there's going to be anomalies. That's kind of just like how the world is. There'll always be anomalies, and let people live their life. They're not impacting me in any way. You know? Like, yes, it does make sense that the average person probably would be straight. Just scientifically speaking, that would give us an evolutionary advantage. There was an episode of the original series that was about hippies. I don't know if I remember. Star Trek was massive for 1967 just by virtue of having a black woman in a prominent role. Yeah, I love it. Hey, have a good one, Sasspot. But yeah, like, logically speaking, it does make sense that, you know, more people would be straight than not, or at least be into the whatever direction it is for them to reproduce. But there's always going to be anomalies. That's kind of just a part of the world. Everything has anomalies. At least in my experience. And if you don't let those anomalies exist, you're causing probably a problem. I don't know. I really don't get why people are so anti-LGBT. LGBT, because like, it's not like the people are impacting you. People aren't doing nothing to you. Why does it matter? What next? You're gonna make it illegal for men to wear skirts or something? Like, come on. Who cares? Make it literally a law saying that women have to wear bras or something? I don't know. That would be absurdity. That would be awful. But that's the point. I don't know. My thoughts and opinions only go so far on this type of matter. I'm only so representative, you know, I am like a straight cis white person, so it only goes so far. You know, the only reason that I might somewhat represent a minority is just because in the technology space there tends to be less females. But there is an even number of females in the world overall, so we're technically not a minority. It's only within the space, a very, very niche space, just like how men are in the minority when it comes to things like nursing. But are they allowed to call themselves a minority just because they happen to be a man in nursing? I don't know. I don't really know where the boundaries lie, and I'm not one that can make those boundaries either. That is not my place. And I'm getting a bit philosophical. As women in Comp Sci, you are what they call minoritized. A carefully chosen word that means you can be a minority without actually being in the numerical minority. Interesting. Minoritized. Is it pronounced like that? Minoritized? Okay. That's really cool. So me having like a strong interest in tech means that I'm minoritized while I'm in the tech space. But for example, I'm no longer minoritized when I go to like the knitting and crafting space. Suddenly it's like almost all people that look like me. It's almost all females. So it's interesting how it's just so based on the exact spot you happen to be in the moment. So like me sitting here streaming and playing PowerWash Sim, I'm minoritized. But when I'm in the knitting scene, I'm not. Clearly we need to stop using terms and just call everyone brothers and sisters instead of stuff like trans women. They're just a sister now. I like that. Honestly, I don't bother putting the word trans in it. Like, honestly, it's just like, oh yeah, you are what you want to be. Sure, I don't care. Like, I personally am not gonna find myself sexually attracted to a person who's trans who identifies as male. That's not a trait I'm interested in. Sorry, I just saw an ant and I need to now keep an eye out and make sure there's no more. Because we've been dealing with an infestation lately. Can you check our food and just make sure there's no ants over there? Okay. I only see one. It's just that means I need to do a little searching and just make sure there's no more. I'm not seeing more. Look! It's driving me crazy. We're like, the ants are intense right now.
They're wrong. They are.
And so, like, I'm trying to be really adamant about it or we're gonna get swarmed.
No, you're right.
No, I get you, Coding out. But yeah. I do find it a bit ridiculous though, like there's some people that'll say like, oh boy, I accidentally pressed the screenshot button. What is this light? What does that light mean? What is that light? Scroll lock. How did I hit that? Okay.
Off earlier.
Oh, I did wipe it off earlier, you're right. What time is it? Yeah, I'll do one more. Diatomaceous earth is super useful, non-toxic, and cheap for bugs. I don't do bugs. Bugs are not a thing I do. I got given a key for a game that's like an ant RTS, and I was just like, yeah, but I've talked to the guy before and asked him what he wants me to do in the case of like giving, because he gives keys without asking, like, oh, does this interest you? It's just like, I somehow got on the free key for every game that's on their radar list somehow. And so I've talked to him before and he's like, if you think you might have any kind of interest, please check it out. If you don't like it once you try it, that's totally fine. And if it's a game that really just does not interest you, feel free to just give it to your community. So I do have a brand new ant game in my list. I do want to like wait to give it away though until like I'm sure I can give it away. But yeah, it is a good list. I've gotten some really good keys off that list. I don't know how I got on that list, but I ain't complaining. I've gotten some pretty cool keys from that list. But there have been times where I'm like, they gave me a key to Xenonauts 2, and I was like, you know, I'm not really sure I'm gonna like this. Like, I'm willing to cover it, but I don't think I'll like it. Would you prefer me to cover it and just like give it a bit of a shot? Would you prefer me, would you like to recycle the key, or should I give it to my community, or what? And he is just like, oh, well, I always recommend trying it, but if you don't want to try it, it's your key, feel free to give it away. And so I will be trying Xenonauts too. But this Ant RTS game, I was just like, I sent him a message, but I sent it today. I literally sent that email today. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I can't do bugs. That's like one of my very few hard boundaries with games, is like, no bugs. Insects are a no-no. I think it might be like I'm on the list to just get like any new Raw Fury game that comes out. That might be it. I don't know. I managed to get on a super cool list. I know that much. Oh, Factorio was fine. Because it's not like overly... I don't know, the things about bugs that bother me weren't that bad. Like I could do Hollow Knight. Because they weren't that buggy, they were more cartoony in Hollow Knight. But like, I'd never be able to play Grounded. You know? That's where that boundary lies, and it's a little complex and confusing to explain. Chemistry lab overhead lamp bulb. Oh, that has a bulb to it. That has to be cleaned specifically. Let's see. There we go. Computer alarm light. Computer. There you go. Yay, everything back to normal in Bikini Bottom. Sandy singing, Pig Dance plotting, and Mermaid Man's mobilizing. Who knows? When the dirty bubble served his time, maybe he'll become a clean little bubble, wafting happily around the place. We can't thank you enough for helping us clean up our little mystery. Without you, we'd still be mean, high, and grime and crying. Anyways, gotta gash. We're throwing a surprise party for Squidward to say sorry for all the mess we made. We invite the whole town. Squidward's gonna love it. Oh no. Goodbye, friend, and thanks again. There we go. We finished the SpongeBob DLC. That was really good. I don't know. I haven't played Limbo. Okay. So, it is a bit late. Let me check something. It is a bit late. I think today's Saturday. I go live again on Monday. I think I'm gonna end. I'm gonna... Well, you know what? We could do today's a little to the left puzzle. Usually they take like 30 seconds, but we'll do it anyway. Nah, we won't. We won't. I'll do it on my own time. Oh, but I only have 4 minutes to do it. I only have 4 minutes to do it. Hold on. It takes like 30 seconds. I'm not going to bother changing my game. Blasphemy. But there's 4 minutes until the new daily tidy is given. So I want to take today's. There we go. See? So now we're playing. Look, I know it's technically not what I'm in the category for, but it'll be fine. There's 2 greens here. Oh, we gotta do the other solve of it too. Empires of the Undergrowth? That sounds about right. So let's do it like that. Yeah. I'm a little confused about how this can be sorted into more. There you go. Okay, don't mind me just doing that. Anyway. Anyway, we're gonna find somebody to raid. I usually go to bed within like 2 hours of now anyway. Ooh, Arch. Actually, I'm ending a little on the earlier end. Let's go ahead and raid Raw. He's playing some Farming Sim 22, which looks fun. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a raid his way. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. I will be back on Monday. By the way, somebody, if you care, I would like someone to ping me when the battle's ready because no promises. On Monday, I will be playing another game I have a review key for. Not sure which one. I currently have Little Friends Puppy Island, A Long Journey to an Uncertain End, and Xenonauts 2 to be looking at. So I'm not sure which one it will be, but it will be one of them. Make sure you check out my socials, specifically my Discord and my YouTube. On my YouTube, I post like YouTube exclusive content too sometimes. I'm gonna get that going again eventually soon. And my Discord, you find out everything going on. So yeah, I will see all of you guys later. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's go ahead and get these raid messages. I will go ahead and see all you Monday. Have a great night, guys. Bye bye.